I'd say what inspires me is building a better future, and what I love about the technology sector is that so much change is possible, and we see so much rapid change happening. Even in the past 5 years that I've been coming to events like this, seeing the change that's happening, the different kinds of people involved, the discourse changing, that's been amazing. So what inspires me is building a better future in an area where we do build the future and we focus so much on change and change for the better. I'd say that professionally, I'm most proud of the hiring that I've done in our engineering team, where more than 50% of our new engineers hired in 2017 and 2018 have been women. So while we have a little bit of a way to go still in our overall demographics, professionally I'm incredibly proud of having an applicant pipeline that is over 50% women, 25% people of color with our last statistics, and our hires have been at 50% women now in the last year. So I'm very proud of that achievement. It was a lot of hard work, and I'm really glad that people are choosing to join our team from all demographics. Yeah. I do. I think that society does socialize technology towards boys rather than girls at an early age. From the 80s, where computer games were marketed towards boys, it's still the case that girls growing up have a different perception. We see the phenomenon of what one of the speakers today called pink science for girls, where there's science and then there's pink science, your computer engineer Barbie, or a pink world globe. And somehow this is a feminized, dumbed down version of science, of technology marketed at young girls. And these barriers, which are erected by society and where we teach young girls and women to erect for themselves, definitely do create obstacles in encouraging women to join technology. It's not a career where women are currently very well represented, and young girls right now, while we're trying to increase representation of science and technology to young girls, I'm seeing marketers do it in a way that makes it othered, makes it different, and in many ways makes it lesser. And I do think that creates, and yeah, there is still a barrier there. Definitely. So events like this, I think, are incredibly important. They bring women together. They show that while at your company you may be the only woman on the team, you may go to a local meetup where there's only a couple other women. Coming together in spaces like these for women in technology helps build that sense of community and makes women feel that there are a lot of people like you doing this kind of work and being in this sector. So I think that's really powerful. And I also think having these conversations and recognizing as a society that there are barriers, but what we can do to overcome them is really important, and I think that that is helping. So we've gone from science isn't for girls to pink science for girls, and hopefully we'll at some stage just get to science is for girls. So we're making progress for sure. I would say the best career advice that I've ever been given is this idea that everyone is looking at their own shoes, which is a little saying that I sort of internalized. It's the idea that people aren't judging you or focusing on you or trying to assess you as good or bad or better or worse, lesser. Everybody is very absorbed in their own situations, and as such, it's a lot safer to take risks and to fail than you might think. Getting up there and giving that presentation at work, most people aren't going to be laser focused on your presentation the way you're laser focused on your presentation. Or failures that feel catastrophic to you, most people probably just don't notice. Most people are looking at their own shoes and not constantly examining all of the micro actions of everyone else. And getting that advice was really powerful for me in my career, because it helped me to stop scrutinizing myself so heavily, kind of hit publish on blog posts, speak up in meetings, just go for it, feeling like, you know what, people actually aren't paying the level of attention to my actions and my failures that I'm paying to it myself. And it helped me feel safer to fail and therefore safer to take much bigger risks. And I think it accelerated my career quite a lot as a result. So I have one book that I read, not every year, but I probably reread it most years, George Eliot's Middlemarch. And it's quite an unlikely book in tech. It's very long. It's a Victorian novel. And the reason I read this book again and again is the idea of great intentions and the road to hell being paved with great intentions versus the small acts of kindness, the acts of change that do change the world. And what inspires me is being able to make a change in society. And sometimes that can overwhelm me. It's this idea of I will probably never in my lifetime see the changes that I'm hoping for or think are possible. But what I'm here for isn't to reorganize the world order in broad brushstrokes. It's the everyday acts of kindness. It's meeting one person at an event and saying something kind or encouraging to them and the effect that might have on their lives. It's all of these small actions that we all do all the time that drive that overall major change. And I would say that's the one book I recommend because it shows so well the kind of grand ambitions and how misguided that can be, and the everyday small acts of kindness and service and community building and support that actually do end up changing the world. So I find it helpful given what I'm trying to do and how hard it sometimes is to try and do something like make the world better. Well, there are definitely, so just to recap the question there, what is it an overall challenge being a 100% globally distributed team without a central office? My talk today was about how one would build and scale a distributed team, what the common challenges are, and I think that's recorded. But it is a challenge. There are definitely things that are more difficult. Decision making needs to be done more intentionally and be communicated better. Collaboration is something that we have to really work on and build into our structure because it doesn't happen as naturally. Management looks quite different when you don't see people in person. And then of course hiring and onboarding people into your team that you might not have met at all is very different to onboarding somebody in the office. So it is different, and I think if you ignore those differences and try to directly apply in-office techniques remotely, it won't really work. But I think that a fully distributed or largely distributed team is in many ways easier than a team that's mainly located in an office with a few people that work from home. That's usually the case where you have a culture optimized for the in-office experience and then a few people trying to struggle along, swim against the current in a situation that isn't optimized at all for them. There's a lot that you can do to help those people. One of the main ones being try to document your decisions really well. And I have a blog post on how to do that if anybody is in that situation and wants to know exactly what to do. But there absolutely are challenges, but there's also tremendous benefits from having a global talent pool and a globally diverse team. I've really enjoyed Women of Silicon Roundabout because seeing so many women come together and realizing how many women there are in the technology ecosystem has been very validating and very inspiring for me. So experiencing this community has been fantastic. And then just seeing what my fellow speakers have shared and all of the insights and all of the ideas being shared here today has been really powerful. So it's both been, who's here, the community that we've been built, the energy, the inspiration, and just the quality of the fellow speakers has been, really exceptional today. Yeah.